Good evening. Welcome back to United TV match preview. Manchester United versus Liverpool, the one which could mean Manchester United get Champions League football guaranteed. And I did expect to have a couple of guests, but we're going to do a solo stream as they were unexpectedly not available. So we will go do this solo. Dora will actually be joining us. She'll be free after the match on the weekend, so we will speak to her about this match. But the preview is going to be myself. We're going to go through this in terms of what we want to see in the lineup. I do have some information about Liverpool players missing, which I'll go through when everybody's kind of here and engaged. And we'll look through the players that Liverpool got missing, quite a lot of them, which is a good thing. So potentially Liverpool, a good time to play them. And there's a lot of players out for Liverpool. So looking at their injury list, and actually a lot of attacking players as well. So when people are on the stream, let me know what you're thinking. Just initial reaction to start with. Are you confident about this? So I'll just maybe put a banner up. Are people confident that Manchester United are going to be getting Champions League football? We're going to beat Liverpool. Obviously, I think that's the aim. But I was expecting to have a couple of guests. So, like I said, hopefully you guys can get involved in the comments and help drive the discussion about what we're going to be expecting in this match. So I might put I think most people joining are going to know it's a Manchester United versus Liverpool preview, aren't they? So you don't need to put any banners up. So this, in terms of as a lineup, like Liverpool play 4-2-3-1. We're expecting Manchester United to essentially be on the attack, I think, a lot of this game. If you want to know about Liverpool's injury issues, these are the players they've got out. So they've got Salah is out. He's not going to be back till mid-May. They've also got Alisson is expected to be a late fitness test. Mamadashvili as well, he's out as well. Ekatike, long-term injury as well. Connor Bradley, Endo, got Leone, Kirkes, all expected to be injured, unless Kirkes can pass a late fitness test as well. I think Jaden as well, he's out. So there's actually quite a lot of people missing for Liverpool. Potentially a good time, but I think the main thing is going to be that I'm not sure whether Isak's 100% available either, but losing Ekatike is obviously massive for them. Having a couple of goalkeepers out is obviously quite bad. So not the worst time to play them. The question is going to be for Manchester United is, can we take advantage of this? Because I did say this as well, that whatever happens, and whatever happens with injuries with Liverpool, Manchester United versus Liverpool, it is a massively important match to both clubs. So I'm expecting that no matter what team, whatever 11 we see on the pitch from Liverpool, I'm expecting a tricky game. Like there's no way that Liverpool, they don't want Bruno Fernandes to beat the record against them. They don't want Manchester United to get Champions League football against them. So this is going to be a tough match regardless what happens. So looking at this, what do people want to see in terms of formation, in terms of like lineup? So this is where, in terms of like the back four, this is where you can get involved. Let me know what you think in the comments about potential back fours you want to see on the pitch. And I've got Lamans in there already. Hopefully you can see this effectively. I've zoomed in as much as I can, but I'll put some players which are probably going to be featuring. But again, make sure you let me know if you've got some differences of opinions, because I'm looking at this thinking, okay, let's put the other defenders on. So Aiden Heaven, Dallow and Shaw seem to be very likely. I'm looking at other options we got. If I got other defensive options, I think I'll have to probably type some names on some of them. So I think in terms of Manu, who else have we got up here? But I think I've not used the white lineup for a bit. So I think in terms of defense, Maguire is there as well. I don't know if we've got loads of other options. I think Yoro would be available, whether people want to see him. That's kind of where I'd be thinking we'd be going. Is there a shout for Mazraoui? He doesn't seem to be getting into the team at the moment. Actually, already have Maguire, so let's make a Mazraoui. So there's a couple of options there. We could bring in Mazraoui. I'd imagine that I don't know. I'd be surprised if he changes it too much, but that's kind of like the defensive options regarding this one. Rob said, I know Isak is back, but I'm not sure if he's 90 minutes fit. I don't think he's going to play the whole match, so it depends on whether they'd start with him. So I don't know. I think they probably would like to have some threat on the pitch from the start. It's like they don't have any fit senior goalkeepers, right? No, as far as I know, the first two goalkeepers are potentially out. I think Alisson's a late fitness test. I think Mamadashvili is definitely out. So I'm guessing that, considering like the injury issues that Alisson's had, I don't know. I'd be hoping well, I think from a Liverpool perspective, it would seem a bit like this isn't the sort of game to rush someone back if they're not really fit. So I'm guessing that it might be that they've got the third choice goalkeeper, so that's probably potentially a good thing. Maybe Woodman's out. I mean, yeah, they are running out of goalkeepers, aren't they? And a good thing. But in terms of this, who do you want to see in the back four? So I said this will have to be quite interactive. So if you've got some suggestions, then Gregory's going like 4-2-3-1. And in terms of a back four, are we happy with the lineup I've got on screen? So I'm going to put, I think Dallo would probably start. I would be surprised if we saw anything else. And I'm guessing at the moment, does the team almost pick itself in terms of defensive options? I don't think that there's going to be too much deviation from Aiden Heaven and Maguire. Is there a shout for bringing in like Yoro? I think he might be available. Is there a shout to like bring in? I think Lissandro Martinez is available, but I don't think he's going to be favoured for this sort of match. Then welcome, Ryan. So I'm assuming everybody's completely happy with the lineup I put on screen. Then there's no conversation or no comments about it. So in terms of the lineup, I've got Dallo, I've got Aiden Heaven, I've got Maguire, Luke Shaw on the pitch. I think Luke Shaw is going to be starting this one. I say so. We're going from this like back to front to start with. So we can go through like other comments after that. But I'll just say from the start of this, who do you think should be? So is Luke Shaw fit? I think Luke, let me just double check. I think he is fit as far as I knew. So I mean, I'll try and find out some information, but I think in terms of this one that Cunha, Shaw, De Ligt, let's have a look in terms of expected against Liverpool. Hopefully, I think Cunha should be available. I think Dorgu should be available. I'll just see if I can find some Luke Shaw information. So potential return date for Cunha is given as Liverpool. So that's Luke Shaw. And potential return date for Luke Shaw is the Liverpool match as well. So unknown for De Ligt. People don't know when De Ligt's going to return. Alessandro Martinez, then he's not available. So his return date potentially would be the next game against Sunderland. So I think Luke Shaw is potentially available as far as I can see. So and I think that Cunha and Dorgu are potentially available. So I think in terms of injuries, I think this is probably the I think Luke Shaw is available based on that. So I'm not seeing anything that he's out. And Gregory said, wouldn't it be nice to have other starting fullbacks? It'd be nice to have some options. Like it would be good to have some options, but at the moment there isn't a lot, is there? I think the only other option you could probably say is that potentially if we bought a left back in the summer, and then we still got Mazraoui with Dallo, but no, that's pretty much it. I think we can put Mainu there, and we can put Casemiro, who I've got there. So the real talking point, I suppose, is going to be, and actually, who do you think plays the further forward in most matches? So I say Casemiro, his attacking output is pretty impressive. Kobe still, he's leading the stats. Something I saw recently that might be of interest to Man United fans, that no one's won the ball back more than Kobe Mainu since Manchester United got him into the team under Michael Carrick. So he's been putting in good performances defensively. I know people sometimes question what he does. And say if Liverpool were a threat, would Carrick have played a back five like he did against Brentford in the second half? I think it depends on the game, doesn't it? I think in the game against Brentford, the idea was to try and make sure they closed out the game, and Manchester United won the game. So you could argue that whatever Carrick did worked. We got a good result. I think fans sometimes get a bit disappointed by certain tactics or formations, but you have to look at it and say Manchester United won the game. And Brentford, apart from that shot from distance, they didn't have loads of chances in the second half. So Manchester United it's probably the right thing to do. I think if you're winning 2-0, you don't really want an open game. You want to make sure you win the match. So I don't really mind adjusting your tactics based on like the fact you're winning the game. Then should Manchester United have gone for a third goal when they were still quite open in that match. So yeah, second half, I think it's one of these things, isn't it? If Liverpool are a threat, it depends on the score. Like if it's 0-0, then obviously not. United shouldn't be playing defensively. But in terms of like attack now, so And this will be like a shorter stream as well. So if you want to have your say, let me know attack-wise what you want to see on the pitch. As far as I know, we've got full availability: Mbeumo, Armajalo, Cunha, Benjamin Sesko, obviously Bruno Fernandes, and I think Mason Mount is available. So full availability. Who do you want to see on the pitch, and how confident are you guys feeling about the match as well? So lots of people saying hello, but any suggestions regarding this one? Evening United side diet. So you're quite confident we're going to beat Liverpool. Who do you want to see on the pitch? Do you want to see Cunha starting the match after missing a bit of football? Mark says hi all as well. Now I think the question is going to be like, was Michael Carrick right? I think you could be looking at. So okay, if you want to bring on Cunha, if you want to bring on Cunha during the match because he's got back from an injury, what do you want to do? Do you want to start with someone different? Mark says Cunha goes straight back into the team. So maybe we'll do a quick. Should we do a quick poll to decide this? Because people are there's not too many comments to work with at the moment. So I'll do a quick poll, and the question is going to be Cunha start or bench. Like, it's definitely going to be featured. Player when we played Liverpool in the first match. I would love to see Cunha on the pitch, but I appreciate that. And maybe it's a no, it's one of these games where I think Cunha will be like itching to get on the pitch. Like it's going to be difficult to get. Like, I think if you want to see Cunha not starting, I think Cunha would be very frustrated with that role of watching this game. So I'll do a quick one. Should Cunha start? And also, if you're able to share the stream, because this is a bit of a different time as well, say you would rather be underdogs than the past. When I think at the moment I've spoken to some Liverpool fans, they're not confident at all with this game. They're actually looking at the position of Slot as well, thinking he should be replaced. So I think Liverpool, it's a good time to play them. Lots of injuries. Don't forget that Isak might not be fully fit either. You've got Ekatike out. You've got a team that's actually struggling for form recently. And if you watch Liverpool play, they've been pretty average, to be honest. So Man United fans been urged to pay tribute to Jota. I'd not seen that, so maybe that's something that's going to happen as well. I think Man United, regardless of like say underdogs or favourites in this match, I think these matches are always going to be quite 50-50, aren't they? This is always going to be a tough match. So regardless of what's been happening. And Mark said Bruno to equal and break the assist record against Liverpool and guarantee Champions League. That this is kind of the thing, isn't it? But if you think this is going to happen without Liverpool putting up a massive fight, Liverpool are going to put up a big fight in this match, unfortunately. So poll question whether Dorgu should start over Cunha. So I mean, Dorgu hasn't played since he's come back from injury. So I think that Dorgu's injury is quite serious. I'd be really surprised if I don't know. I'd be genuinely surprised if Dorgu comes into the starting 11. But like people are saying that Cunha should start. So maybe okay. If people want to go for starting Dorgu, I feel it's quite risky. But I'll put a quick poll in. Say so. I think it'd be quite surprising. So if you pick one to start, then who would you go for? I mean, Dorgu's been missing for a long time now, so I think it's if Dorgu would come on midweek or come on Monday, maybe there's a shout for this one. But if you pick him on to start, I'd be amazed. If neither of these starts, then you're probably looking at a couple of options. I suppose you've got Benjamin Sesko up front, you got Mbeumo. I'm just trying to think. Actually, we don't, and probably Mbeumo and Amber would be the options as well. So I think Dorgu should come off the bench, but I think Cunha should start. Then is bench them both possible and let them have 15, 20 minutes off the bench? Okay. So it's been a while since we did match preview, so let me just change the question a little bit. So this is my good question. Okay, who should start? Okay, so you're going to pick one of these players to start. So if you choose none of them, then the front three picks itself. So this will be the options. So who should start? You've got Cunha, you've got Dorgu, you've got neither. If you think they should both be bench options, then that's actually quite a good suggestion by Ryan. I think that bench can be an option as well. I think when you're looking at Dorgu's an impact player. He's a physical player. Had a hamstring injury. The last thing I'd want to see is Dorgu aggravate that injury for when it's getting to the stage almost, isn't it, where if Champions League is in the bag, and can you imagine how bad it would be if like Dorgu got injured? So I would say for me, there's no need for him to feature in this game. It's going to be a game where against Liverpool, it's going to be like a frenetic physical game. It's going to be a battle. So I don't think this is the sort of game to come in if you're not fully fit as well. Like Gregory said, um, you don't want to risk Dorgu's health when the season's nearly over. I think Cunha is like probably able to start. That he's a bit more likely to be absolutely fine. But no, I think off the bench, absolutely great. So welcome, or Mickey. He said only play Dorgu if there's no risk, and say otherwise it's not worth it. I mean, I thought Dorgu was going to come off the bench on Monday, and then that would kind of make me think he's going to play more of a game for this one. As far as I said, when I was talking about the match, I think we were talking about the match on Monday or Tuesday. Actually, it might be. Do you remember when we did a pre-match for the Brentford game? And part of that was to talk about that Cunha was actually not available and that Cunha wasn't going to play. And apparently Cunha picked up a bit of a knock, but the update we got given, or the update we found out before the match started against Brentford, was that the idea was going to be it might be a rush for the Brentford game, but Cunha was expected to be fine for the Liverpool game. So I think Cunha would start. It makes sense in that respect, and I think Cunha would be available to start. And so, yeah, no need to rush Dorgu back to start. But now, if Dorgu's available on the bench, he was on the bench on Monday. So, again, a couple of training sessions midweek should be absolutely fine, I'd imagine. But again, I think he's not going to have match fitness. And it is the sort of injury where you don't want him to aggravate anything as well. So, yeah, no need to rush him back. So, I'll check the poll because I can't see the poll at the moment. But at the moment, looks like so. I'll do these polls quite quickly. So if you're able to vote, then please do so. No, it's pretty sensible. Um, who do you find the most threatening player from Liverpool? So yeah, that's a good question actually. Like who's going to carry the most threat from Liverpool? Because obviously, if Isak's on the pitch, I think it has to be him. I'm trying to think. Actually, Ekitike would have been the player I wouldn't want to play a while ago. Mo Salah's actually injured because he always scores against us. So just attacking players, I think there's like threat from Szoboszlai. He's obviously going to be one to look out for. I think Mohamed Salah is actually not available until middle of May, so he's out. Then I think it's quite good that potentially they've got the best two goalkeepers out as well. Um, Connor Bradley is actually injured for the season, so he's not going to be featuring for the rest of the year. And I think in terms of this one, late fitness test for Kirkez. So potentially Kirkez is missing as well. I think Endo's somebody also that's definitely not going to be featuring. So they've got a few players out, but you would still say, actually, maybe when you think about it, considering what's happened this season, then McAllister might be up for it. Florian Wirtz has actually improved a little bit recently as well. So I don't think you can actually rule out Florian Wirtz. And as the Bassist says, like Gakpo does turn up against United as well. So they've got some decent attacking players, haven't they? The thing about Liverpool is the fact Salah's injured, I think is more a thing for Manchester United fans because most Salah's record against us is incredibly good. But in the kind of whole season panning out, most Salah's been quite disappointing. So it's not been too bad. Mickey's saying you'd like to see a good start. Like the start against Brentford was good, wasn't it? United were ready. I think United have to be mindful that when we're looking at the start again we made against Leeds, it was dreadful. But also, if you can see the names on the people here, so I've got Maguire and I've got Mainu. These two people were not available against Leeds. They were available against Brentford. They make a big difference. So I've got Aiden Heaven there, but it could be somebody else. Could be Yoro potentially. but I think that's the most likely. And so people voted to see Cunha start. Cunha's going to be so up for this game, so up for this game. And I think if we're looking at, I think we can do a vote, but I'm assuming that people are thinking that we're going to see where's Sesko. So we're going to have Sesko up front, and I think obviously the one person I left to the end, Bruno Fernandes. So, do you think there's going to be any option to deviate from this lineup? I think mainly Casemiro obviously is going to be the first choice. Cunha was expected to be almost ready for the Brentford game, but he's definitely going to be there. I don't. I think if you're looking at it, that on form, probably. I think on form, probably Armadillo is missing out. You've got to have some threatening team and people on the pitch. I think Szoboszlai's got a good record from free kicks, but I think that the factor in this game should be that don't give away anything stupid. Like this is going to be like a difficult match. Liverpool are, don't I would say forget the form. Like Liverpool haven't been very good in the form guide, but there's certain teams in the Premier League that will definitely step it up against Manchester United. Leeds and Liverpool are one of these. Even the game at Anfield, Liverpool had a lot of chances, and that was quite a tough game. But I think for me, one of the keys could be that I think Cunha, his hold-up play is excellent. His the kind of shithousery that Cunha brings to these matches, that he's the sort of perfect player for this sort of match, I think. And also, this is going to be Casemiro's last game against Liverpool, and probably the last massive game he's got in the Premier League as well. So I'm expecting big things from Casemiro, and Bruno Fernandes, I think, could be a key factor as well because he's like, is he one assist away from equaling the Premier League record? If he got two, I mean, I can't see he would get two, but yeah, if you remember, I think probably you'd expect Lammens got to play well, but against Liverpool at Anfield, I think they hit the post a couple of times as well. So problem with Cunha rarely passes or crosses. Well, I think in this match, then it depends on how we're setting up. I imagine if you got Benjamin Sesko on the pitch, then you've got to try and get him involved in the game as well. The only other scenario could be, and let me know what you think would be the most likely. Maybe I'll do a poll. Is there a chance that Manchester United have Sesko on the bench and go with Mbuemo, Bruno, have Armadillo on the right? So I think if there's a conversation about who starts, the people missing out, I'd be very surprised. I think Mbuemo is like almost like guaranteed to start because of his work rate. Armadillo, you'd feel I don't know. Almajolo could be better when the game's a bit more stretched, but then Benjamin Sesko sometimes he gets a bit isolated. So it's probably be a judgment call. Who would you rather see from that one? Who would you rather see start the match? I think we've got a choice of two, really. So I don't think the Bruno assist thing's particularly hurting us. So right, so we decided amongst ourselves that we're going to start with this one. Sesko's height versus Virgil van Dijk, says Gaz. So yeah, he does bring that as well. I think Maguire as well. I think Maguire is definitely a key player in this match. That I'd be quite worried if he was missing. So there's a few key players that I think we definitely need to see. Danny says you're going to say Cunha, Sesko, Armadillo. So maybe it should be pick one for the bench and we can decide who goes on the bench. Because I think if we're looking at this, people feel like Cunha's going to start on that side. So if we're going to have one person on the bench out of these players, we've got Armadillo and Buemo, and we got Sesko. So you can make a case for either one of these, I'd imagine. So let's put Sesko there as well. So Armadillo and Buemo, Benjamin Sesko. So pick one of those players to start on the bench. It's kind of difficult to pick, isn't it? Like, because if I'm looking at it, that in terms of how the game starts, it might be a frenetic kind of first sort of 25, 30. Are we expecting it to be a game where maybe Sesko, like I think one of the good things about Sesko is he does actually link up with people as well. So I think we saw on the game against Brentford that Sesko, even if Sesko drifts wide, is actually quite good in terms of in terms of fitness. Then who's fit enough out of Dorgu? I don't think Dorgu's actually played. Dorgu hasn't played for a couple of months, whereas Cunha was like 50-50 for the Brentford game, Gaz. So I think Cunha's like expected to be fit. I don't think Dog is anywhere near sort of starting a match at the moment. But no, so some of this is also what's going to be quite useful later on, because if we bring Sesko off the bench, his goal scoring record is fantastic. But I quite like, I always like having someone quite quick on the bench. So let me just find this one. I always like having somebody quite pacey on the bench because I feel that's quite threatening late on. And now, if you remember the game against Liverpool at Anfield, I would say that towards the latter stage of that game, Benjamin Sesko and Cunha were actually very good at retaining possession, holding the ball up, stifling Liverpool. So lots of positives in that one. Big up to you, Daz69. So Daz, thanks for dropping a like. So Daz, what do you reckon in terms of like what you want to see from this match in terms of lineup? The lineup is quite fluid. We can change it during the stream. Tabassus is saying you can prefer Mbeumo on the bench. You can prefer Mbeumo on the bench if you want to. Um, so Lou's saying that Sesko should try and get more involved. I think he got more involved in the last game, but again, I think sometimes he gets a bit isolated. The thing is, you do want to have, you don't want him dropping too far back. You want to have someone that's going to be a bit further up the pitch as well. I think Sesko does need to. Probably one of the things that Sesko needs to do is maybe Sesko needs to make more runs, and continually make runs, even if crosses don't come in. He needs to make sure. It said what Liverpool and Villa also need a point for Champions League qualification. Welcome, Genghis. I think Mbeumo, like there's certain players that like Mbeumo's not scoring, but I think Mbeumo is actually he contributes off the ball. So I think Almajolo and Mbeumo, they all contribute off the ball. We are still winning games, but again, I think it's going to be a case of like Man United don't have loads of options. There is potentially so you want a game like Bayern versus PSG, what no defending, all out attack for both teams. So I mean, Manchester United in the 90s was a little bit like that sort of game, wasn't it? Like if we concede 3 goals, then we're kind of confident we can score 4. But as Gaz was saying, yeah, so this is how football's played these days. No team's number 9 is involved in play too much. But I think it's no, I can't see the poll, so you've got a free vote, and I'll go with the majority. But I would say for me, I would look at what's going to be on the bench. What options have you got? I think Almagiolo, if he's going to come off the bench, you know what he's going to be offering. He's going to be offering pace, direct running, and potentially an outlet, potentially a counter attack, depending on how the game's going to go. I think Sesko on the bench, I don't mind too much because when the game's he's actually quite good positioning. I think a lot of the time that he seems to be in the box. He does seem to actually, if you can get the ball to him, that his taking of chances is actually quite a high percentage. So I did say this. It might have been actually midweek that when you look into the strikers in the Premier League, because I was comparing the numbers and saying, right, what's Ollie Watkins done this season, and what Gyökeres done, what has Sesko done, and Sesko is actually up there. Like, there's not a lot of difference between him and quite established Premier League strikers. And if you look at the percentage, if you look at how many chances Sesko gets, I think his accuracy is like one of the highest in the league in terms of like shooting. So, he's actually pretty good in terms of like accuracy. He's got a decent finish. He's decent in the air. I think it causes a problem. But again, I don't mind. Like, I'm talking up Sesko here, but I don't mind Sesko on the bench. It's absolutely fine. So you'd put Sesko on 60 minutes because like if we put Sesko on 60, I think that's not a bad time. But a lot of it depends on what's happening. I suppose the other bench options we could have a Lacey. So in a way, Lacey could actually do maybe the same sort of thing that Armajaro does from the bench. So you could make a case and say maybe Sesko could be on the bench, and you could have someone like Lacey on the bench as well, and Armajaro could start. So you could have someone quite pacey on the bench alongside Benjamin Sesko. So and also you could have Mason Mount there as well, depending on how the game's going. So potential some options on the bench. I guess Xerxes will be also sat next to them, but I would say Sesko needs a little time to adapt to the Premier League pace. I think that's like it's probably the same with Florian Wirtz, isn't it? I think Florian Wirtz was heavily criticised at the start of the season, but it was to be expected that it's to be. And I think Sesko also played in sort of with two strikers at Leipzig as well. So again, he's kind of getting used to being like the solo striker. So it's a bit of a learning curve for different reasons. So and West says then again, Mbuemo and Amajalo both struggling. No guarantee. So it's no guarantee we'll perform like against City and Arsenal. No, they're the two best games of the season. So I think with this one that it's all about the victory, isn't it? Like if Man United played badly against Liverpool but got over the line, won the match, did the double over Liverpool, I don't think people would be particularly too bothered. Um, so yes, yeah, I think Ruben Amorim, the way we set up under Ruben Amorim, actually got made Rasmus look even worse. It wasn't great for Sesko either. So I think there's definitely a factor in that one that Sesko needed a bit of time to get into the team. I'd say I think you might find I'd say that with that one that there's definitely a lot of players that go to Man City, and some of the players, if they don't work out at Man City, it's not that they settle down, it's that they just disappear and we don't hear about them. So I think there's some players that go to Man City. There's obviously some do great, but um, how is um, Mamouche doing at City? Is he still in the team? There's a lot of players that at Manchester City that just get completely disappear. Gyökeres has got more Premier League goals than Sesko, but all of Sesko's goals have been non-pens, where Gyökeres scored some of the penalties. It's close though, isn't it? There's not a lot in it, and you could also say that that Gyökeres joined a team that's fighting for the Premier League that finished second the season before, and Sesko joined a team that finished 15th. And actually, we rebuilt our team a lot attack wise last season, but also we sacked our head coach mid-season, so the numbers aren't very different. I think Sesko is a better player than Gyökeres. I think we got lucky with that one. So yeah, I think that Sesko is just yeah. Sesko's not even been in the team, has he, a lot of time? Right. I think overall, as a Man United fan, I think overall we're probably looking like I'm not going to say Gyökeres has scored loads of penalties, but I think overall, I think Manchester United are fairly relaxed that we got the best player available. So at the moment, okay, I might as well close this poll because it looks like Armadillo is getting benched by 8 people today. So I did say go with the majority. I don't even know what the best option is, to be honest. If you're going to start with someone on the bench, I think Mbeumo for me starts because of his work rate off the ball. I think it's something that this is the sort of game where you've got to win your duels, win the second balls. I think Mbeumo is good at that. I think Armadillo maybe not quite so good as that, to be honest. Welcome, Red Devil Studio. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. So I'm still not convinced with Sesko starting at 9. So hold up play pressing could be much better. I think pressing could be a lot better. I think if you start from Buemo, you're going to get a lot more pressing. But I think his hold up play is actually not bad. I think he's got quite a decent first touch. But again, I think sometimes he seems to be a little bit isolated. But I think, as people are pointing out, I mean, he's not the only striker to do that. I mean, Haaland tends to not be involved and then score. So it's just not a big problem. And I think Sesko, to some extent, does something a little bit similar as well. So, so let's have a look. So I'll change the lineup slightly. So Almagialo is unfortunately for him on the bench, but not too bad for us. So we're going to put Mbeumo on the right. To be honest, that probably makes a lot more sense. I feel like our team's a bit more balanced now if we got that. I think the thing that people like that yeah, you could argue that maybe Sesko needs to press more, but I think actually he hasn't done too bad in some games. But I think if you got Cunha and you got Mbeumo, I mean, I think we're actually pressed better if we have Sesko on the bench and we have Almajalo. I think that's a better pressing front three. But I think in terms of goal threat, I think we're more threatening with Sesko and something to bear in mind with like the centre backs, maybe make sure that they're put under pressure as much as possible. So, but I do think that that's quite nice that with Mbeumo there. I think that Mbeumo is definitely the more likely to get the ball into Sesko, and I think with Bruno Fernandes as well. It's nice to have options that he has got someone with aerial threat. He has got two willing runners left and right with Cunha. So, I think in terms of like an attack, I think this gives Bruno the most options. I think that Ahmad if he's in this position, can effectively do that. It's like I think with Mbeumo, it's at the moment, Omajala is a little bit like Mbeumo on a bad day where he doesn't really carry the goal threat that we're kind of hoping. If Omajala, and he's only 23, so there is still time for him to improve. If you think Mbeumo is what 25, 26, Kenya again is a couple of years older than Omajala, so if you think he's like a couple of years behind these two players, then it could be a big season next season. I think there's going to be pressure because Man United will be bringing in more players. I'll just say to Vril, I did say I was going to have a guest from Croatia. She's going to come on after the match. Unfortunately, she had to help her mum do something today, but she'll be on Sunday after the football. But Vril, you're saying you'd go wild, start Amajalo in the middle. That is crazy, crazy. And you start and when on the right, bench Sesko. Okay. I think we did like a vote to see who gets to be benched, and everybody voted for Amajalo. So Amajalo is going to start there for us, as far as we know. Jay said all the signings have been really good recently, but I think the most important signing was Lamans. I think so. I'll say why I think Lamans is the most important. I think the most important regarding this one is, yeah, the most important I got this one is going to be probably, I think it's because he helps the defenders quite a lot. Yeah, quite a lot. Ahmed just needs a goal. Yeah, it could be, could be. Grace, I think there's going to be. I don't think you're gonna have to prize the captaincy out of Bruno's dead hands. I think to give it to Dallo. He's not going to be captain, but he'll definitely be in the team. I did say that Dallo's going to be starting. I'm almost certain of that. That for whatever reason, I think that um, you said Wild. Yeah, Wild is fine. Wild is fine. To be honest, though, I don't really mind that. If you got a plan how it works and you got a reason why you do it, then let me know because that would be absolutely fine. Debasa says it would. Yeah, well, ask Bruno who he wants in the team because he's cooking. Yeah, tell Bruno go right. You're going to have to get number. How many assists has he got now? Is it 19? So he's going to have to get number 20 and number 21 against Liverpool. So it'd be like Bruno. Who do you feel like assisting today? Because I mean, the thing is, it's on the cards, isn't it, that Bruno Fernandes is going to get an assist? It feels a little bit like that. So um, I think this is overall. I think are we quite happy with the team? Like we've got Bruno there. How are people feeling in terms of confidence? So only two. So yeah, let's try and focus. So he's on the bench, Agile. It's all right. It's okay. No, in terms of like bench though, I wouldn't be hoping too much. But do you think there's a shout now for like in terms of bench options? Do you think there's a shout for Lacey to come off the bench in this game, depending on the circumstances? That I do feel like we need to see a bit more from him, see how he does. Jim says it's going to be interesting to see how Manu plays now he's got a new contract. I think he's going to do absolutely fine, Jim. If you consider Manu just signed his contract, the thing that's going to be on Manu's mind, I think, is beyond this season is trying to represent England in the national team and trying to get into England's team at the moment where you've got Bellingham, you've got Wharton, you've got Anderson. It's effectively a who's who of like midfield transfer targets this summer. So there's so much quality in the English midfield to choose from that I think he's going to do absolutely fine. So I'm not concerned at all about Manu. But I think Manu looks to be super composed. I think the main thing is Manchester United have tied him down to a long-term contract, and that's probably very useful. Grace says Bruno's just assist farming. I mean, it's working though, isn't it? I don't think as Bruno, is there any? Well, I think at the moment, I don't think Bruno's just assist farming. I think he's definitely creating legitimate quality chances. If you think about the game against Chelsea, there was literally nothing else in that game, and Bruno did create a good chance in that game. If you think about the run, the second goal he created for Benjamin Sesko, where there was an option to pass to Mbeumo, I think that was a really good. That's top quality play from Bruno. So I don't think he is like. I don't think he's like making the wrong decisions. Really, I think he's putting some good chances out there for people. Do I think Dorgu could be good for us at left back? Do you think he could play further forward as he did before he was injured? So I say that the interesting thing about Dorgu is when I first talked to people about Dorgu just before he signed. It might actually no, it might have been we signed him in January. I did a stream about him the previous. It might have been like August, September, and a lot of the time, a lot of things we read that he had played mainly as a left back in Lecce, but lots of people from Lecce, when Manchester United moved Dorgu further forward and Dorgu started getting great results, a lot of people did say that in Lecce they always saw him as a more of a winger than a left back, and so the expectation from Lecce was always that his natural position would be further forward. I do think potentially at left back he could be able to do that. So whether it would be good or not, I think it's difficult to say unless he actually plays there. But I think he's definitely got. I think with left back, obviously, he's got to be very disciplined and make sure he's got to be positionally aware, which is something that I can't really comment on because I've not seen him play there for Man United. But in terms of an attacking threat, he's obviously very good. I think a lot of people think with Dorgu, if he did play left back, maybe he could get up and down the pitch and be a lot more threatening further forward. So maybe that's something in the future where you could see if Dorgu was left back and you've got Cunha there, if they can build up a relationship on the left-hand side, that could be a more threatening side for us. Because if Carrick stays, he does like to have quite like one attacking fullback. So I think there's a lot of potential with this one. But at the moment, I don't think Dorg is going to be featuring too much in this game after he's been out for so long. So Ryan said, yeah, this has got a hallmark of like the game we talked about with Brentford. Like saying you're saying a draw is not a bad result. It's not a bad result, but a win would be a great result, wouldn't it? So we can't play for a draw. We have to try and like get this job done. It's probably one of those situations where, and weirdly, I think a draw means both teams qualify. So, but I don't think Liverpool and Man United are going to play for a draw. Saying Gaz says Maine's been at the club since he was 7. I don't think he needs motivation for Liverpool. No, this is probably the game where I think you need some experience because of the Liverpool game. So this is a game where Maguire being available is definitely important. Having Casemiro and Mainu is going to be a good thing as well. Bruno Fernandes would absolutely love to do it against them. And if you remember in the first game against Liverpool, Cunha was a bit of a key player as well. So I think Cunha was definitely going to be up there as well. So if he beats the record against Liverpool, absolutely fantastic. But I'm not sure if that's gonna. This is the sort of game where I'm not sure if Bruno gets an assist or not. I'm not going to be too concerned with that one. It'd been lovely for him to break the record, but I think there's going to be other things to discuss. Now, big up to you, Cody. I know you've had like a busy day. Let's say, and let's say he had to defend more because they're rubbish. They were in a bit of a relegation fight, so it could be that. But if you want to talk about Dorgu, when he was at Lecce, he played as a left back, he played as a right back, he played as a left winger, played a bit on the right wing, and I think with Dorgu, effectively he played mainly left back to start with. Just I think it's just because that was where the opportunity was. And I think with United, we've seen what he can do on the attacking end. We've seen a wing back; it's not great. And what's this one? But you'd have to message me about that, Rob, because I know we've got a fantasy football league, but I didn't know there was actually a cup. So I don't know. I obviously don't follow it enough, but I know my team's actually doing quite well. I've actually got Casemiro and Bruno Fernandes in my team at the moment, my fantasy football team. You wanted a 5-0 win with Mo Salah on the pitch. That's not going to be happening. That's not going to happen. I mean, I'm happy to do the double over Liverpool, and it's not really a problem. I don't really want Mo Salah to go to. I don't really want him to go there and them to cash in. That would be pretty disappointed. So I know it sounds negative, but I'd be very happy with a draw. Obviously, I hate the Scousers, so I want to win, says Cake. Yeah, if Man United draw and I don't know, Bruno Fernandes equals the record and we see like a couple of good goals or something and we get Champions League football locked up. I mean, Liverpool's a difficult game. So if we take a draw and it's a good game and it's a difficult one because Liverpool are going to be up for it, I say, don't expect the crap Liverpool we've seen in recent games. They're going to be up for it, and they'll be looking at this game as a game where they have to make sure they don't lose as well. So it's not going to be the sort of walk in the park we're hoping. Genghis is a draw. Let me just double check the league, but yeah, we don't want to win. We don't want to lose that match and let Liverpool overtake us. So in terms of league position at the moment, then currently Manchester United in third on 61 points. We're 3 points ahead of Liverpool. Our goal difference is only one better. So if we did beat them, it would effectively give us a 6 point lead with only 3 games to go, making it unlikely. But you have to say Liverpool are in a bit of form. They've won 3 games in a row. Just to put out there which games they've won recently, let's have a look. So they beat Crystal Palace out last time 3-1. Other results in April, they beat Everton 2-1. They did lose to Paris Saint-Germain, but they got a win against Fulham. So losing to Paris Saint-Germain 2-0 twice. Well, Paris Saint-Germain are quality, aren't they? But the win against Fulham 2-0 is a decent one. Away win against Everton and a comfortable win in the end, 3-1 against Crystal Palace. So they're kind of picking up a bit of form. Florian Wirtz is actually, I did say this, I think Florian Wirtz is actually a bit of a danger man now. He's playing a bit better recently. Yeah, Salah's out injured. And we want to win 5 in a row. That guy's haircut, I think, I don't know. I think that guy's just off the radar now, isn't he? So I don't think people are bothered about his haircut. Uh, yeah, no, we need to be locked in at the back 100%. I think the difference is going to be, do you remember the game we lost against Leeds? We kept losing aerial duels. Like Yoro was getting bullied by Dominic Calvert-Lewin. This isn't going to happen as well. This isn't going to happen now. We got Maguire back. So I think having Maguire back, if you think about it, Maguire was actually the match winner as well against Liverpool. So having our match winner back in our defence is going to be really important. I think effectively, even though we kind of Cunha and Dorgu a bit questionable in terms of injury wise, I think we've actually got quite a solid lineup in the back now. So and so if it's true about I think it is true, Mark. I think and Ryan said as well, but I think like mutual respect between the two. There's definitely been some work between the two teams as well to try and stamp out the kind of like the tragedy chanting, which is obviously the Hillsborough tragedy, the Munich disaster as well. So hopefully that sort of thing does get resolved and you don't have that sort of chanting. But I think there might be something on, on 20 minutes into that. So hopefully something like that does happen because I think Man United and Liverpool, they kind of respect each other in terms of like when these sort of things happen. So it's crazy, isn't it? I was doing a live stream then when I found out it happened. So yeah, really bizarre kind of time when I found that out. But no, time's gone quite quickly, isn't it, Berber? It's like a whole year. Let's say, yeah, Curtis Jones there to get shredded. Maybe we see Dorgu come off the bench. That would be quite good. I think maybe what we're going to see is like with Benjamin Sesko, I think we might see a little bit more confidence, like see him actually, because I think we're seeing a gradual improvement overall. Yeah, maybe Mainu can like rubber stamp his kind of like great week with a goal would be nice. It would be quite nice to see Mainu actually get on the score sheet because I think a lot of people don't really I don't really value Mainu as much as maybe I do because I think these play more defensive. So now if you look at it with Code Mainu, one of the things I'd say is and actually a big shout out to someone that's in the comments on the lunchtime stream because D Hexion sent me a link in the Discord. Actually, I could post a link to the Discord if people want to join. But he sent me a link to the Discord, which is a good way of comparing players, where you get you get different metrics. So you can type a couple of players' names in, and it'll draw one of those sort of polygons where it'll have what they're good at, passing wise, defensive wise, progressive passes. So in live streams, when we start talking about midfielders, I'm going to start putting that on the screen and start looking at what's the actual difference between some of these players. But I'll put a link to the Discord if people are interested in joining. I think a lot of people watching already are in the Discord, but I'll put a link there and hopefully this link works to all our links, but hopefully you can get involved there. But I will start using that on the screen, so you'll see what I mean when I do another transfer stream. And let's try and pin that so people can find it, because I think when we're talking about players and people say that they don't like Tonali or they like this player or they don't like that player, we can just put some numbers up there. Because when I've been looking into Kobe Mainoo's situation as well, the passing accuracy is extremely good. Defensive work's really good. Has anyone seen Neil Disc? I think Neil was around. He was definitely around last night or this morning, Rob. So yeah, Neil was in the chat as well. There is going to be a call-in stream as well. I don't know if you ever fancy joining a call-in stream, Rob, but it will be like maybe myself plus one co-host, and you can come on and get involved. The link is just a link to like different socials and things to Bassus. Okay, so Gaz saying let's talk through the actual game then, because I did say annoyingly that I did like plan this stream to have a couple of guests on, but at kind of the last moment, one person got called into work late because someone was sick, and Dora was unavailable for other reasons as well. But Dora will be available on Sunday after the match, so we'll get to get her view as kind of like the player rating stream. But Gaz says you want to see Dorgu play because he holds the width like a winger. Cunha does drift inside, and yeah, that is true. That is true. I think when Cunha was talking about this as well, that he pretty much offers himself to play on the wing. So he says he'll do anything for Manchester United. But I think Carrick does naturally prefer Dorgu because he does hold the width a little bit more. But again, it's difficult, isn't it? If that with Cunha, he does like drifting a bit. I think that one thing that this is like maybe with Cunha, he's going to be able to put like more quality crosses in than Dorgu. But again, like Dorgu's gonna evolve a little bit as well, isn't he? No, exactly. I'm thinking that Dorgu might get like 15 minutes, like maximum. I'd be surprised if Dorgu gets a lot more than that, or maybe he comes on 70 minutes, which I think in modern football, 70 minutes probably ends up being nearly half an hour with like the extra time added on. So should we do people want to do some like score predictions? I mean, if you've got some questions, we can go for that. But normally I'd have some guests and find out what they think. But I'm gonna have to ask you guys what you think score prediction wise, because this is one of those games where a draw is going to be like job done, Champions League football. Maybe we actually, maybe it's something to look forward to next week. Maybe if Manchester United get the point now, get Champions League football, it could be It could be that we see something happen regarding who's the head coach. Maybe there's going to be potentially transfer stories breaking. I do get the feeling that getting Champions League football kind of seems to be something we just got to get done, and then we can actually move on and start planning for next season. And Danny B says 3-1 United. Danny, like people would bite your hand off for like that scoreline, but yeah, it'd be difficult, wouldn't it? Yeah, no, he hasn't done. That's true. And 2-2 by Berber. 2-2. I always think like when it's like a 2-2 with Liverpool, it always makes me think of that game when Eric Cantona came back from his ban. And I think we got a 2-2 draw in that game. And he scored the penalty, didn't he, to make it 2-2. I guess that was the game where Robbie Fowler scored an outrageous shot, but that was quite a good game. You prefer 1-0 not conceded, and 2-1 from United I die, and 2-0 from Varil. And yeah, now 2-2 is like it kind of gets the job done, doesn't it? It means we take 4 points off Liverpool. We stay 3 points ahead of them. Gaz says 2-0 United. Why not Liverpool a shite now? Do you remember when we played against who was it we played recently? We played against Chelsea and we won at the Bridge, and we don't normally win at that on that ground. So we've done the double against Chelsea. And I think a lot of people were expecting more from Chelsea. Okay, the win was probably people didn't really like the way Man United played, but we did have players missing. We did have Masraoui in defence, didn't we, alongside Aiden Heaven? So I was quite satisfied with that win. I think we've got a better team at the moment. So your internet is hotspotting. Um, yeah, I'd say, but if you're gonna join a call-in show, Rob, and the internet doesn't work, then it doesn't work. It's okay because we can just move on to the next person. But if you want to get involved and have a go, like you can, then just it's worth trying. If you remember, if you saw last like 2 weeks ago, Neil joined and it was not the best connection, but if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. If it does work, then you can have your say. United 3, Liverpool 1 says Stephanie. I was 14 or 15, says Lumen. Was it in 1995? It was the year we didn't win the league, wasn't it? because Eric Cantona was missing for most of it. I think it might be 1995 because Blackburn won the league, Man United won. No, sorry, Everton won the FA Cup. I think it was that season, so it could have been 94, 95. Eric Cantona came back from his lengthy ban, and I remember he had like his wrist bandaged up or something, didn't he? I think it was back then. That was when we kind of like bottled the league against West Ham, didn't we? Yeah, it's kind of tricky to predict. I'm kind of thinking with this one that it could be like a 1-1 or a 2-1 game. There's not going to be loads of. I don't think there's going to be loads of goals. It's going to be one of the. I think it's going to be one of those games where there's a lot of threat, but it's going to be difficult to predict who's going to win it. Say 3-2 last minute Casemiro winner. If you get a last minute Casemiro header, do you remember like it was almost like a last. It wasn't a last minute Maguire header, was it? It was quite near the end. But if you get a last minute Casemiro header for Bruno Fernandes to beat the record to sink Liverpool, that would be one of those. Do you remember Rio Ferdinand running the length of the pitch? If Man United do a last minute winner, I want Casemiro to do that as well. Like maybe slide in front of the Liverpool fans. That he should definitely put in a big game. I think I'm expecting. When you look at Casemiro this season, and it's like he's doing his farewell tour, just putting in maximum effort in every match. I think we're going to see a big performance from Casemiro on this weekend. I think we're going to see him put in like a solid performance. Embrace it, Ryan. Embrace it. It doesn't happen as much as it used to, does it? No, I don't think anyone mentioned him. I'm trying not to mention Amarim, but it's like, yeah. Agile Beast, what you're saying. Um, yeah, don't knock it, Ryan. If you're playing in the Saudi league, you're getting plenty of money, aren't you? Plenty of cash. No, so it looks like most people are thinking that we're going to be if I was playing, I'd be in the Saudi league as well with you, Ryan, but we'd both be getting paid way too much, so it'd be all absolutely fine, wouldn't it? It'd be fine. The only way I'm getting in the team is if they mistake me for somebody else that's actually a player. It'd be like, do you remember that football player that got given a contract that wasn't just because he was a friend of someone else, or they pretended he was a football player? I can't remember, and then they realised he was absolutely rubbish. But yeah, players don't go to the Saudi Pro League because they can still play at the top, do they? Nice one. Take it as it's a minor win, Rob. It still counts. It still counts if they ask the question. I think the thing is that they changed the rules, so now it's like, does this person look under 30? If they're not sure, they have to ask. So no, it's absolutely fine. Has anybody got any questions? This is like kind of a hastily organized stream, so thanks for supporting it. Thanks for getting involved. I just say a massive thanks to people that have helped over the last couple of weeks building up the channel again. I think we've hit like 780 subscribers or something like that. So we're pushing. I was hoping to try and get to get to 800 before we play Liverpool. So if you just tuned in, it's going to be quite difficult now. We kind of need 20 more as well. You take any win you can, Ryan. Like at this, like I'm not gonna say at this stage, like we're not dead yet, Ryan. Like just I should phrase that differently. So, but just if you just to the link tree in the comments, the Discord is there as a to trying to like share things as well. I do have a fantasy football league. We will try and run the fantasy football league again next season. Hopefully, get more people in, more people involved. So we will be looking at doing that and and if Ian wants to set that up again, we'll try and get the same people involved. So we will be looking to try and do that. The only thing is that it's difficult with it because I kind of like messed up a bit because I went on holiday and then I got a bit overly competitive and it took up a bit of time. Yeah, but good to see everybody back. Agile Beast, it's good to see you back in the comments a bit more as well. I know you used to give us updates about the temperature in Arizona. I'm guessing it's always too hot, pretty much, unless you go out in the middle of like the winter and night, and it's probably still quite shorts and t-shirt weather, I'm guessing. Um, but has anyone got any final questions? Everybody's gone like super optimistic today, which makes me a bit concerned. I'm expecting a difficult game, like quite a difficult game because I don't trust Liverpool. You know how Leeds performed. Why is it taking time? Because that was over 6 years, Lumen. It just takes a lot of time. A lot of people probably when you have like thousands of subscribers, a lot of those people probably don't even watch YouTube anymore. So it doesn't matter, does it? It's not about how many subscribers you got because the active people in the community are still active, so it's all good. But the fact is that there's there's um there's definitely a peak for YouTube in the summer, and things will be picking up then. Mid 80s. You're gonna have to convert it to Celsius, Agile Beast. I can't work in that currency. See, you're saying it's like what 20 degrees, like 25 degrees? Is that? But any final Man United versus Liverpool questions? 29. That's actually pretty warm. That's pretty warm. No, I think what's happened actually is that things have gone by quite quickly. And one of the things we're trying to do as well that is like we're trying to do more calling shows. So the calling show on Sunday, hopefully that's going to be, something good for people to get involved in. There does seem to be something like this. There does seem to be somewhat of a power shift that Liverpool spent a lot of money last season, but it feels like they didn't really get value for money. Kerkez is a bit, I don't know, it's not as good, is he as good as like the players that left the club? I don't think so. So no, I think Liverpool have done what we did a few years ago. They spent very big, and the players aren't really working out as well as they wanted to. I think Florian Wirtz might end up being a good player, but he definitely wasn't worth the amount of money they spent on him. Isak definitely wasn't worth that sort of money either. So no, it is a bit of a power shift. It feels a bit like Liverpool in decline, and it feels a little bit like we're improving a lot. But I think it's finally balanced that Liverpool will. They do have good performances in them. The fact they got beaten badly by Paris Saint-Germain, I think Paris Saint-Germain are just a really good team at the moment. But I think in terms of Premier League status, Liverpool are still going to be like a top 3 or 4 team generally. Or this is a bit of an off year for them. I think if Liverpool get a better quality head coach, they'll be a lot better. And so, yeah, no, there was like a Liverpool content creator I was going to try and get on today because I know I've known Fozzie for like about 5 years, and he's been doing streams recently. And this is kind of a Liverpool fan perspective, which made me feel a bit more confident. He's been talking about Slot and most Liverpool fans and most Liverpool content creators. I don't know many Liverpool fans in real life, but the ones that are on YouTube are genuinely actually they're quite negative about Slot now. So I don't think Liverpool have sacked a manager that's won the league, but yeah, it could be. Mason Mount should just concentrate on like finding a different club, maybe. No, I didn't see the whole interview, but I think what happens is they probably ask questions like, "Do you think this team can win the league?" And Mason Mount probably say, "Why not?" And I don't know if he said we're going to. I don't know what he actually said, but it's the same sort of thing that any football player that gets asked about whether they think they can win the league, you got to be positive, haven't you? You got to like, you got to talk your team up a little bit. Can't be too negative. So maybe Mason Mount thinks we can, but at the moment, it's not with Mason Mount in the team, is it? So at the moment, Mason Mount's kind of like a passenger a little bit. So looking at this, I believe they're actually taking the lead, you say, tonight. Are they playing Burnley? Oh, Burnley are terrible, so that's always going to happen, isn't it? I don't think I've got any Leeds players in my fantasy football anyway, so it doesn't matter too much. So just to go through the lineup, start to finish, so people can see, and then we'll wrap up the stream. But we've got Lamans in goal. We put Dallo as Shaw as fullbacks. We've got Aidan Heaven and Maguire as our centre back partnership. We've got Mainu, new contract there, and Casemiro, final few games. I think I'm hoping like Mainu can do something in this match. Like I know he plays well most games, but if he can get an assist or a chance to score, that'd be quite nice. Bruno Fernandes, another assist, maybe on the cards. I think goal scorer wise, yeah, this is probably the question. If Man United are going to win 3-1, like people are pointing it, I say Gerrard. Is Gerrard still rubbish at management? Because I don't mind if that's the case. If he can bring in like the quality of management he brought to Aston Villa, then I'm up for that. But I'm guessing he's probably gone somewhere and actually done a bit better than that. Now, who's going to score the goals then? This is the question. And if we could have left him at the bridge and then picked up maybe like 50 million in used notes, that would have been quite nice, wouldn't it? Okay, so who's going to score the goals is the question for me, from me. That people are saying like we're going to be like 2-2 draw, we're going to win 3-1, 2-0. Who's going to score the goals? Like we're assuming that the obvious people on the pitch, like Benjamin Sesko's got to be a shout. Are we looking at set pieces? Like who do you think is going to be the goal scorers? And then we'll wrap up. I did see that actually. Frank Lampard possibly. So Maguire and Mbeumo, he owes us one. Actually, they're the goal scorers in the first game, and Mbeumo scored the first one, Maguire scored the winner. So I don't know if that's intentional, Ryan, but they're the goal scorers from the game at Anfield. Sesko and Casemiro, says Debasis. I'm going to say that goal scorers, like the goal scorers in this match, it'd be nice to pick Mbeumo. I'd kind of like to see, I'd like to see a midfielder score, but Cass from the corner, Benjamin Sesko. You're going, oh, I don't want to hear Liverpool names being mentioned. Say 2-2 draw. You're going with, like you're saying, Gakpo, Szoboszlai, Aiden Heaven hat trick. No, no. Where's Grace? Because Grace is the only person that rates Dallo. Like, I don't think we're going to be seeing Dallo assist. So you're saying 2-1 to Man United. Yeah, I'm not sure Mbeumo has been fully fit, to be honest. Gaz says you don't care who scores, only that Bruno assists. Yeah, maybe this is the one season where, at the moment, if if Bruno assists and we get something out of that, if we got a 2-2 draw, Bruno got 2 assists, it'd be kind of like a bit of a celebration anyway. So yeah, Bruno gets 2 assists, Sesko and Mbeumo to score, Bruno to get an assist. I think 2 assists in this game would be a stretch, wouldn't it? Be quite difficult. 2-1 United, wouldn't be surprised with traditional 1-0. This is like generally a tough match, isn't it? Like a really tough match. Big up Ducks. I'm about to wrap up because I want to go and have some alcohol and some something in a second. Have a few drinks because it is Friday night. But who do you question for you, Ducks? Who just joined? Score prediction and who's going to win the game? Yeah, a draw secures Champions League football, but beating Liverpool is beautiful. Like I hope we can beat Liverpool. I know so many Liverpool content creators I can just annoy if that's the case. I'll be with you, Sebastian. Same point, Sebastian. About to wrap up, so let me know your goal scorers and let me know your score prediction, and we'll put it on the screen. I'll say this: most people have been pretty confident to the extent that no one's predicting a defeat so far. Like nobody. Are you going to come on the calling show on the weekend, Sebastian? I'll try and do it at a maybe like 7, 8 or something. You're going to annoy Lee and Don. Lee, is that the Arsenal fan, Lee? Because if it is, I don't think you need to annoy him. I think he annoys himself. No worries, Sebastian. No worries, my friend. Said 2-1 for you, Bruno and Armadillo to score. Yeah, if Brighton and actually if Brentford and Brighton fail to win, then that's actually a good point, actually. So Brentford and Brighton, let me just double check who they play. So it might be that Brentford are going to play against West Ham at home. That's by no means an easy game. And Brighton go away to Newcastle. I mean, wow, Brighton to Newcastle, that must be about one of the longest journeys you got in the league, isn't it? In the Premier League, from Brighton all the way up to Newcastle. So there are two games that are not easy. So I think tomorrow I might be watching a couple of games hoping for a draw. So then we can go to the Liverpool game with literally zero pressure. So that would be pretty cool. So that would be good. If those teams that fail to win, Bilal, I'm about to wrap up. Do you want to just let me know your score prediction and goal scorers? So you're going to say 1-1. Yeah, Bruno will get an assist, and people say stat padding. So I hope he does keep stat padding against Liverpool in particular. 2-1 Man United could be a tough match, but you're feeling the wind is in our sails of late. I think the Old Trafford crowd are going to be buoyant, aren't they? It's going to be I think it's going to be a really good atmosphere on the weekend. I'm looking forward to it. 2-0 for Gaz. Maybe we can get JR on the calling show because he'll be at the game, so we can get him on the calling show hopefully. How far Brighton? I think if Brighton don't win, then that's it. Bruno plus Isak for you. Okay. I'd say try your best. You're going to watch the game with your family. It'll be a few hours after the game's finished, so it won't be straight after. Families divided into Scousers and Man United. That sounds like a nightmare. It's a big match, even if we're fighting for third. Yeah, to be honest, I remember watching Man United when we were mid-table, and the Liverpool game was still massive then. So yeah, it's going to be a big game, whatever's happening. Even when Man United were dominant in the 90s, we still the Liverpool still gave us a tough game. Even when we had a better team than them, it's still a tough game. But yeah, it's not going to. I think Brighton and Brentford they're on a good run, but they're just one draw away from missing out. But anyway, guys, I'm gonna have to head off. If you just tuned in near the end, Pete, please feel free to check out the start of the stream as well. We did talk through the lineup. It was a bit not that it wasn't the smoothest stream at the start, but we got there in the end. And I think most people had some pretty good valid points regarding what reasons we're going to shape the team. And hopefully, yeah, hopefully it's going to be a good one. I mean, also to let you know, match day content we will be doing, we will start live before the match. And I think Helgi might be able to do take a run through the watch along. So there will be someone running the watch along, and then we'll be live at full time. I'm hoping to do a third stream a bit later in the evening, which will be like a call-in show to get people on, and it will be quite well organized. So if you want to get involved, you're welcome to get involved. So quite a lot of matchday content planned for Sunday. I think tomorrow might be a couple of news streams, depending on news. But also there is plans to expand things a little bit as well. We'll potentially one or two extra guest hosts getting involved to try and put out a bit more content. But thanks, guys, for getting involved. Really appreciate you. Thanks for helping build this community up. And we will see you probably tomorrow, 9 a.m. I'm not going to get too wrecked tonight. It's going to be like a relaxing Friday, but hopefully there'll be some news. If you see anything that you think's interesting and you're in contact with me on social media, just send me a link for a story. I'll probably be hammering transfer news stories that early tomorrow morning. But then after that, it's going to probably be a relaxing weekend, I think, until the game. But cheers, guys. Appreciate it. No, thanks, Rob, Bilal, Stephanie, Ryan, Dux, Sebastian. There's a lot of legends in here tonight, and um, Lumen as well. Good to see you, and Dux. I think that's everybody. If I missed somebody, then sorry, and Mark as well, and Gaz as well. So cheers, guys. Have a great weekend. I will catch you in the next one.